that is after Yishtabach, between Yishtabach and the Amidah, is the brachas, there's Shema, the brachas afterwards. That's called brachas Krishma. During that area, you're allowed to answer things that have kedusha. That is, we said you could answer Kaddish Baruch Yimloch. Three, long over briefly because we discussed it already. The Kaddish, the three psukim in kedusha, Kaddish, but the full pasuk, Kaddish Baruch Yimloch. Amen after Kela Kaddish, Amen after Shemei Tefillah, three words of Maidim Menach Melach. Amens from the reading of the Torah, those who are called up to the Torah. Thunder and lightning, you could say bracha. So now, whatever we discuss, you're allowed to interrupt during Brachas Krishma, you're allowed to also interrupt at the end of the Amidah. Not during the Amidah. During the Amidah, you can't interrupt at all. But when the Amidah is over, and you finish the last bracha, and then you say, last bracha is Amivarech, Esam Yisrael Vashalom. Then you say, Hashem Tzur. Then comes Elokayim Netzor L'Sheini Meirah, right? Rings a bell, yeah? So after you say the pasuk, Yio L'Ratzin Imrei Fi V'Hegin Libi L'Fnecha, Hashem Tzur V'Geli, and you say that pasuk, from there and onwards, until you go back 3 steps, or more precise, until you're about to go back 3 steps, in that place, in that space over there, you can answer anything that we say you can answer during Birchas Krishma. Okay? So whatever we discussed during Birchas Krishma, between Yishtabach and Amidah, all those things that we just mentioned before, you can also answer once you say the pasuk Yiratzin until you go back 3 steps, or actually I said till when you're about to go back 3 steps, because when you're done and you're about to go back 3 steps, then you're done. You can answer everything already. You don't have to. I mean, it's a technical thing. A split second, if you happen to catch the just then you didn't go back 3 steps. It takes a second to go back 3 steps. Okay. What else regards? Oh, I know. I wanted to talk about Mitzvah Hashem. Life goes on, good things happen, and sometimes women cannot daven. They don't have time to daven. So what do? Women are obligated to daven. Well, are they obligated to daven? Yeah, women are obligated to daven. But what happens when they're not able to? Maybe kids, this, that, and they're not able to, or more precisely, their time is very limited. So they're able to, but they don't have an hour to say all the kabbanis and all the everything and Tehillim and this and that. So what happens a lot of times is, it says women are exempt from certain mitzvahs, and what happens is something that's very difficult for them, but they're not exempt from davening really. But what happens is, I'm going to clarify that, what happens is sometimes it's very difficult. Okay, so they can't daven. You can't expect the daven, right? Raising a family is more important than davening every single word. But it's not either everything or nothing. Women are obligated to daven. The main obligation for women to daven is the Amidah. You're not saying everything else you do is not important. It's good, you should do it. Whoever's doing it should do it. But the main obligation is davening, the Amidah. So even if it's different, you can't do it. It's but you make an effort at least to do the Amidah. So brachas, and the brachas, and then the Amidah. That's the minimum. Now we're going to add more. Now, once if you have another 3 minutes, then another 3 minutes, and keep on adding more and more. What you could add. I mean, I don't mean adding backwards. I'm saying, if you have more time, you'll do Shema. So Shema comes before the Amidah. So if besides the Amidah you have time to say the Shema, also say Shema. It's a mitzvah to say Shema.
Like just the first 12 words you're saying, or like?
Depends how much time you have. I mean, women aren't obligated to say Shema, but it's a mitzvah. Just like women aren't obligated to hear the shofar, but it's a mitzvah. You got a mitzvah. You're not obligated to bench lov and esrog on Sukkot, but it's a mitzvah. So women try to do it. But the Amida is actually an obligation for women to daven because davening is not essentially originally for a specific time. Mitzvahs that have a specific time, women are exempt. Davening initially is not limited to a specific time, even though it is actually, but in essence, the concept of davening to Hashem is not limited to a specific time. That's why women are obligated at least to daven Shachris and Mincha, not Ma'ariv. You have a break, you don't daven Ma'ariv. But Shachris and Mincha, at least the Amida, minimum. So even if you're in a situation that you can't try to do the Amida. I mean, if it's almost impossible, things can always happen, but I'm saying 5 minutes, Okay, so if you have more time, so in addition to the Amida, you do the Shema. If you have more time than that, then do also the brachas. In other words, right after you stop, I'm saying also, but I don't need to go backwards. I'm saying you go in order, but you calculate how much time you either going to go backwards. From after Yishtabach until the Amida, that's the blessings of Shema, and the blessing afterwards. Then goes the Amida. So we're saying first comes Amida. That's the most important thing. Then comes Shema. If you have more time, then do the blessings before and after, or one blessing, as many as you could. So from after Yishtabach until after the Amida, that whole section is considered the most important part of davening in relation to what's coming afterwards. Yeah.
And 2 questions. One, if a woman puts her baby down, they're kind of getting on a schedule. She thinks she has time to daven from the brachas on Shema until the end of the Amida. And halfway through Amida, her baby wakes up.
The middle of the Amida.
Yeah.
The middle of the Amida, you're not allowed to interrupt.
But the baby wakes up. And
the baby's crying. In regular situations, it's not life-threatening, right? The baby's crying for 2-3 minutes. Obviously, even no danger. Forget about life-threatening, obviously, if that's the situation. But I'm saying baby is sick. Usually the baby could cry for a few minutes. And it's not right? So you shouldn't interrupt during Shmiras unless you have to. Also, well, we're going to go into more details. You could say, well, what if you're standing next to the baby? Could you pick up the baby in the middle of the Amida? Okay, so that's already a discussion because generally you're not supposed to hold anything during davening. Why can't you? It says you should not hold things besides your sibling because it interrupts your conversation, your concentration when you're holding things. Generally, right? So generally you're not supposed to be. You're davening and you're holding stuff in your hand, and you have a package, whatever, and you're holding it and you're davening because you want to have full concentration. In this case, actually very different. You hold the baby, you'll have to concentrate better because the baby's crying. So over here, if you're in a space that you're right next to the baby, you can just bend down and pick it up, pick him up, pick it up, pick him, her, whatever. Yeah, then that would be a good idea. So you'll be able to concentrate and the baby will start crying. Now, what if you you want to add more? You have more time. So now, Baruch Shamar, Ashrei, Ishtabach. So Baruch Shamar, let's say you have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, Baruch Shamar, Ashrei, Ishtabach. From Ishtabach, you go straight to the Amida. So actually, generally, that's really the protocol for a woman that doesn't have enough time. Brachos, Baruch Shamar, just Ashrei, Ishtabach, and then go to the Amida. How long will that take you? 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Usually you give. Now, we go into more details. I don't know if we should. If you have more time, then it says you should add which halukah to add. You add. Yeah, it goes into all these. You can add the last halukah. Okay, you add the last halukah, and afterwards there's another halukah, and then goes all the halukahs. So it's simply, you don't even need to go into all these details really, because it's like you have 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 17 minutes. It's like not much of a difference. In other words, Ashrei, Baruch Shama Ashrei Shtabach. You have more time than the last Halaluka, and then you have more time than do the other Halalukas. Do all the Halalukas, Halinafshi, Kitei, all those. There's like 5 Halalukas from Ashrei till Vayivarech David, Baruch Hashem, where you stand up, right? Then, if you have more time, then you say Vayivarech David, and it's actually only like to the middle of it, till L'Shem Sifar Techa. It's like the middle of Vayivarech David. It's like it's just technical if you know exactly how many seconds you have. And then goes the first part of Hoidu. I mean, what I'm saying now is like too much. I mean, the main point. I'm getting still. This is going to get all. The main point is Baruch Shama Ashrei Yishtabach. You have more time besides Ashrei, then just do the Halalukas. You have more time, say Baruch David. You have more time, then finish the rest. And, yeah.
I don't know why, I was always thinking like the morning birthing, but I really have to say I'll be great for that. That blessing before I could read anything else, before I could read the Amida, before I could do the Torah, or yeah, I don't know why I think
That's correct.
that is correct.
Did I say something different, or you just enjoying the question?
No, because you say, okay, first, yeah, that. If you have
No. No. So when I say just Amida, I'm talking about in addition to the brachas. You're doing brachas in the morning. You're doing all the brachas in the morning, including Divrei Seder. Yeah, so we have to say the brachas on the Torah. On Divrei Seder, yeah. First comes brachas. When we say just Amida, I mean in addition to saying the brachas.
Okay.
Sure.
So, right,
Before you say brachas, yeah.
So Yamida, and if you have time, you do the morning breakfast and the.
No. First comes brachas. Brachas comes before the Amida, because you get in the morning, you thank Hashem for all the things that Hashem gave you, you know. So let's make it clear. Brachas comes first. Brachas. And then the Amida. Before I say brachas, you're correct. You cannot say words of Torah. It's actually
Imagine in the morning, for example, you don't have the time, you go to the order, and you go, and then you.
Without saying brachas. Brachas is not so much. Brachas you have to put into your.
Okay.
You know, you get up in the morning, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, and you know it's you say brachas. It's the things that usually you shouldn't skip unless it's like. I mean, I can't judge people. Sometimes it's like mamish, you know, but to say brachas doesn't take that long. What does it take? 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Say brachas. Okay. Yeah.
I was reading like that it said like, I think it's once you already start to get December to Almeida, like, you know, to talk. So it said like if you go to the bathroom, don't say actually outside until after you finish, like wait, like the Davening section.
Okay, so if you go to the bathroom during Psuki V'Zimna, Psuki V'Zimna is between Baruch Shama and Yishtabach. So I have to double check again. No, I think you say Ashiyatza. I have to check. It's not fresh in my head about that. I think either you say it. I think you say it between Yishtabach. After Yishtabach, I'm going to double check. I think you wait till after Yishtabach and then you say Ashiyatza. If it's during Brechus Krishma, yeah, from after Yishtabach until Amida, for sure you don't say Ashiyatza till after Amida.
Okay.
If it's during Sukkot Zimra, you do say Ashiyatza, but I believe you say it. I think you say it after Yishtabach, but could be after. Or could you can say I have to check. Remember. Yeah. Now, in general, it says that during davening, if you feel you need a restroom, you should not interrupt. Unless you have to, I'll use common sense also. What I'm saying, in essence, you shouldn't, you're supposed to take care of yourself before you go to the bathroom to clean the body. So it says, because your body should be clean. But if you feel you need to go during davening, the lechatchil, which means to start with, meaning the ideal situation is that you don't interrupt, because just like you can't speak going to the bathroom, there's also interruption. So it says you shouldn't interrupt. There's a lot of details, all these nitty-gritty details, this, that, if you're going to that. You know, but generally you're not supposed to interrupt to go to the bathroom during davening. person feels he has to ask, fine, use your own judgment. But it's not ideal to run to go to the bathroom. If you're able to wait, you should wait till after the Amida and then go to the bathroom. Okay? Any questions? Any questions about this? Now, some halachas regarding the Amida, and that is also another thing that would be important. Like if you have, let's say you're limited in time, when we give you the basics. So there's also in the karbanis. I don't know if you say karbanis for some of you trying to say all the karbanis, maybe you don't. Is the karbanis important? Everything is relative to something else, really. There's something in the karbanis that is important. So if you have a limited amount of time and you're only doing what we discussed, but you have another 2 minutes, you have extra minutes, but you don't have time to. So what else should you choose? So in karbanis, there's the pashas hatamid, the carbon tamid, the daily sacrifice that was brought every single day in the Beis Hamikdash, carbon tamid, which is in, where is that? That's Vayidaber, that's I have to show you. You have a siddur, I can tell you which page it is. 18. In the middle of the page. The middle. Yeah. 18, starting in the middle after the small font, whatever you call it. Vayidaber, yeah. Now I want to Thomas Mason, yeah. Now I want to mention, because this is a mistake that I've heard came to my attention a few times. I don't know if maybe I don't think I have the mistake here, but somehow there was a time that the girls were learning this in our schools here. They have teachers that teach things and they mean well, and it came out that they were being taught that before the Amida, you go back 3 steps, right? Go back and forth. So they were being taught that this is where you do it. Hashem, the first side stuff, Yagi Tilosefa. That's what they were taught. So this is wrong. In case if you never heard this before, great. But it has been. Okay, it's now the way you go back to the steps back and forth. You know that I don't think we have to discuss that. Okay.
Wait, what? What do you do? I don't know if you start the top.
Yeah. Like this.
You just tell us what you do.
Go back to the steps.
Yeah.
Go back. Mhm. And then you pick up this one again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Again.
And then you.
And then you show us 3 sections. Not while you're going back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying that
I've not been
taught
doing that.
someone. Huh?
I've been doing it as we go back. Like one.
Okay, so I was correct. That this is a mistake that became like, it sunk into.
I wonder if who's on Africa. I don't know.
No, it's a mistake. It's a somehow it's a mistake because it sounds cute, Hashem was a titach, you go back a few steps. Like sort of wrong. Hashem was a titach with me arguing to the sefer. Like it makes sense in our brain. We don't understand what it's about. Yeah. But it's actually part of the Amida. You don't do while the Amida you go back and forth while you're davening. It's part of the Amida. That's part of the Amida. So it's a mistake. Okay. Okay. Also, other halachas during davening that's important to know that the men should also know, and that is that anything that you have to do standing, you're not supposed to be leaning. If you're leaning, it's not called standing. The definition of standing is standing on your feet. That's definitely standing on your feet. If it's not on your feet, but the pressure is on any other part of your body other than your feet, then that's included in the sitting. So if you are standing, I've seen many times in show, it's kedusha. People got it for kedusha. They're just gonna tie. I'm standing, right? Technically in English it's called standing. In halacha it's not called standing. because the pressure is not only on my feet, it's on other parts of the body. That's equivalent to sitting. You have to know that anytime you have to stand, kiddush. Leaning a drop is okay, but if you're putting so much pressure like this, how do you gauge it? Very good. If someone moved away the table, I would fall. Then it's not called standing. Okay, so then you have to carry kiddush, whatever it is that they have to stand. Okay, in the blocks in the Megillah, when you're supposed to be standing, that's called standing. Any other questions about davening? So otherwise, we'll start discussing about candlelighting. Any questions about davening that you can think of? We finished what? The malachas? Pretty much, yeah. We finished the malachas, yeah. So we did davening. We're gonna do candlelighting. Then let's see, what else? Let's finish Purim. 2 weeks left to Purim. So we start Purim, start Pesach. Some years I start Pesach in advance, and so you get a head start. But see, yeah, we'll do Mufti. Yeah, I'm trying to do it too. Okay. Yeah, clear. Now you clear. Now you know how to daven, right? Okay. There's anything else davening that's checks. Okay. You know what to kneel, what to bow, because I'm sure I watched many times. You can't watch people their own davening because you don't know what they're up to. But the chazan, it's very common. I mean, I'm constantly noticing that. Not saying everyone, but they don't know what to bow. They always have to find opportunities to come over to them in a nice way and point it out to them. It's
It's better to tell you, but they skip some though. I have a question about in Amiga for Modi, like I have 2 questions about when you're doing your own Amiga. Like you only balance what the sound of it, right? Like you go up and then, but then when the father repeats it and you say it, can you bow the whole time or also just a both sound?
bow the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. So the chazan, people don't know that you're supposed to bow the whole time until. Okay, so the chazan repeats the Amidah and you're saying Maidim, you're supposed to be bowing the entire time. But the only thing is, you say Maidim Anachnu Shatahu Hashem. When you say Hashem's name, you could stand up and then go back down. You say Maidim Anachnu Shatahu Hashem, and we're saying you continue. And then you get to the end, Baruch came like this. Does these words ring a bell to you? Baruch came. Hail is Hashem's name. Baruch, like here you get up. Hail is Hashem's name, you get up. That's how you do it. Now, maybe I should go over this, make sure you're doing it right, because I see what happens in show. And so basically, the beginning of the Amidah, Baruch, until Hashem, and then where else? What's the next place? The end of the first blessing, right at the beginning of the Amidah. Baruch until Hashem. As you sing Hashem, you're getting up. A lot of times they're bowing down. I see people going Baruch atah Hashem. No, Hashem, you're already getting up. Baruch atah Hashem. So as you sing Hashem's name, you're getting up. Okay? So you have it twice at the beginning of the Amidah. So the first 2 places in the beginning of the Amidah, when you have Baruch atah Hashem, so the first 2 places in the Amidah, Baruch atah Hashem, you go Baruch atah Hashem. It's one blessing, but make it simple to remember the first 2 places. Then no, not only the other Baruch atah Hashem, not only you don't have to, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. Why? Because if you do, it looks like you're adding on what our Seder is enacted. And the Torah says you're not allowed to add on the mitzvahs, you're not allowed to do less when it says, now diminish. So like for example, on Sukkos, you shake them over nesting. It's 4 species. What if I decide that I want to tie with my little nice flower, a rose, very nice rose? You're not allowed. So too, what our sages enacted, with the Torah to give power to the sages to enact, the same thing. You're not allowed to do more than what they enacted. If they enacted you should bow in certain places, you're actually not allowed to bow in other places. That's another issue that I notice sometimes people are not careful because they're shaking so much that they end up bowing down in places they're not supposed to bow down. You know, like this. You know, Baruch Atah Hashem. So they're shaking, but they're really bowing down when it comes to other brachas, which you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to bow down in other places. Okay. Now, Maiden. On page 51, but if you just remember the bracha, it's Maiden. Before Maiden, there's a bracha, V'sechazene Neinu B'shum Kotzi V'rachlim Baruch Atah Hashem HaMatish HaTzim, right? Sometimes people get confused and they bow down over there because they think it's like part of Maiden. Maiden is coming, they go, Baruch, they go, V'sechazene Neinu B'shum Kotzi V'rachlim Baruch Atah Hashem. Let's be right before Maiden. No, you're not supposed to bow down. It's only by Maiden. Yeah? Maiden, you bow down. Maiden and Ahoshatahu, Hashem Elokeinu. And then, following Maiden, the next place after Maiden, we have the word Baruch Atah Hashem, which is part of the same bracha, right? Right afterwards. Again, Baruch Atah and Hashem as you're going up. Okay?
First, Baruch Atah Hashem, como diz o
Baruch, huh?
Baruch Atah Hashem, como diz.
Right. Maiden we bend, and then the first bracha Hashem, which is after Maiden. After Maiden means technically it's part of the same bracha. Really. Saying afterwards, so you look in the siddur, it's after. It's really one bracha. You're doing what you're doing is you're doing the beginning and the end of the bracha. The beginning Shemesh is doing it twice. The beginning of the end and the end of the first bracha. Made the most doing the beginning and the end of the bracha. That's what you're doing. Got it? Yeah.
Does it matter how much we bow? Does it have to be a deep bow, or can we just?
There is a technical term in halacha which you don't recall that you should. The spine is supposed to bend somewhat. It's how much baruch until you watch the Rebbe bend so much. I see some people at the lunch they go.
Yeah.
No, they don't do so much. I mean, I saw the Rebbe didn't do like baruch until. Sometimes people do it very low, like they barely do it. They say should be something, somewhere in the middle, like this, This is the spine is bending. So the head is supposed to go up like this. It says. So,
I was just like stand up. I had no
so
idea.
it's actually baruch. So maybe it's supposed to go.
Is there a reason?
I don't recall the reason now, but there's look it up. That's how it's supposed to be done. Maybe it's supposed to be gradual as you sing Hashem's name. I don't recall the exact reason. Okay, this clear? The other interesting thing about davening is that if you show and you happen to be starting the Amida together with the Chazan, you could say Kedusha. You aware of that? In the same spot where the Chazan says Kedusha, if you're davening in the middle of a meeting, you can't interrupt, right? But if you happen to start a meeting, some people start in the Chatchila. There's different opinions if you should wait by Shira Kadasha, like a bracha, like a little before the Amida, the certain spot there that they wait there to answer whatever you can answer. Or some say you just start with the Chazan. But whatever the case is, what we're discussing now is, let's say you are doing the Amida together with the Chazan. During the Amida, the Chazan is in the same spot like you. Wow. Now during the Amida, you're not supposed to interrupt the Kedusha, right? Yeah, but if you're in the same spot, Baruch Atah Hashem, B'chaya Meisim, Akdisha, and that's where you're up to. Take Kedusha with them. Just like the Chazan says Kedusha in that spot, because that's a spot that Kedusha belongs there. Well, not when you're davening by yourself, but with the Tzibur, with the congregation, you stop there, you say no Kedusha, and then you continue. Okay? What else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was trying to find it, I was looking at the short form yesterday, and it was going over what you just did, like the order that you add things if you have time. And at one point it said like, you add Hashira. Is that like?
You add what?
Hashira, like the song.
You have it on your thing?
I'm
Let's
trying to
take a
find
look.
it. Offline.
You add the Shira as Yasher?
Yeah, I'm asking if Hashira, like if Hashira is Hashira, it just said Hashira. The song. Wait,
That's much later. Ashrei. Ashrei.
Okay.
Well, you saw it's Ash, not a Shir, because the Shir is at the end. It's like Ashrei.
Okay.
Ashrei. Then comes the last Halaluka, then there's another Halaluka, and then comes all the Halalukas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you bound to the last one? Rose and Sharon?
Lisa Shalom. Go back 3 steps. You go back 3 steps after the lead, and then you go back to 3. 1, 2, 3. You think them together. Then you go basic Shalom Lema. Basic Shalom Lema. Boom. Yas Shalom Lema. Then Shalom.
Let's do that for that part.
You gotta get you going through. Just your head. No, you're not dying in the diet. Main thing is you could that it's not as crucial as waiting. So I don't even think it's by waiting you also then you back. Ace of Sharon, it's just your head, you know. Ace of Sharon, yes, that's what it is. Yeah. You don't like the whole, yeah. Yeah, good.
I see people show like after they do what you just did, they go back 3 steps and they go like almost different. Right?
It's brought somewhere, no, we go back 3 steps.
Like after they did like the song, they wanted to go forward. They go
Oh, we go forward,
and then
yeah,
they go-
it's
and
brought
they go like
somewhere.
that.
I always get the question, I always have to remember to look it up. It's definitely brought somewhere because I see people doing it, so it's not a requirement, there must be some custom
Okay.
that you go like this.
Are you
Yeah.
supposed to wait when you go back and wait to go forward? Sure.
You should, ideally, you should wait. And people do it, and we do this. It's main, in show, really, this, okay, it's not relevant to you, but in show, in the men's section, there's supposed to be. The ideal situation is that they wait until Kedusha, and then they go back to the steps, but many people need it. Minimum is the amount it takes to walk 4 cubits, which is 6 feet. Just from here until here. I always think you to walk. Only take 2-3 seconds, sorry. So at least 3 seconds. For women, they're not in show, the whole constant waiting so long doesn't apply, because in the show, they're waiting. The ideal situation, they're waiting until Chazan is up to Kedusha, even though most people don't do it. Some say until the Chazan begins, then they go. Anyways, practically speaking, for you, what women have to know is you go back 3 steps, you wait 2-3 seconds, not just 2-3 seconds. Then you go back. Just wait something. That's it. You want to show that you're not running away from Hashem. When you're done, you're gone. You know, I just finished starting. I'm standing in front of Hashem. Oh, we're done. I finished it. You run away, like you know. That's,
Or you said wait after you finish it or before you do the official?
no. After there's a show.
After.
After there's a show, nothing. You wait like 2-3 seconds. And you go back.
I found it. It does say much, yeah.
Okay, see?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well,
He's not talking about priority. He's not prioritizing what to say first. He's saying over here that you by birth, David, you should do standing.
Oh.
By birth, David, you stand up. And the shir you do standing with kavanah and with joy.
What is the share?
The shir is az yashir.
Oh, okay, fine.
Saying you should do it standing. And with kavanah and with joy. You know, there's a story of the Friedrich Rebbe with az yashir. So the Friedrich Rebbe, the story that he had a nurse who I think was not well, he had something to care of it. And at one point, he wasn't getting any response to Friedrich Rebbe. Friedrich Rebbe was like not responding. I mean, it was okay, it wasn't serious, but he wasn't responding. So what did he do? The nurse came to the Rebbe. The Rebbe should come to Friedrich Rebbe, and then he'll figure out what's going on. So the Rebbe came. and he was bent down. I think he was sitting and his lips were moving, but he wasn't responding. I think the nurse came asking, but his lips were moving. I think he was saying, "Oh, Yashin." Now, later, just at that time, there's a lot of people by the border in Russia that were trying to escape over the border. There's issues to get out of Russia. There's days with false passports and everything. And it was a very serious situation. And at that time, escaping, they needed help from Hashem. He was saying, Hashem, the old guy over the border. Okay. The questions about davening? Yeah, so we just mentioned these Mosai's on standing, and you probably know we have to stand. Oh, you don't have to stand in the morning for brachas. So there's a misconception about brachas in the morning also, about standing, sitting, so people sit. I've seen shows on people say brachas sitting. Are you supposed to stand? Could you sit? To stand for in the morning. We say until Sidai Mashniyot Sapekech, all those brachas. Just stand. Generally, people are told they should stand. And some people sit. They're sitting also because they said you have to stand. And what is it really? Do you really have to stand? So actually, you only have to stand by certain brachas. But it's easy to tell people just to stand the whole time. To stand, so it's less confusing. That's it. But really, you don't have to stand the whole time. So I'm not trying to the idea is not to discourage you if you're standing, then but more kavanah or whatever. But sometimes people have a hard time standing, and they whatever their situation, and they need to know, do I have to stand, right? Mm-hmm. The brachas that you must stand in the morning is amatil sidain, because a bracha on a mitzvah, any bracha on a mitzvah has to be done standing, with an exception to separating challah. When you separate challah, you're saying a bracha in the separation of challah, you're allowed to do that sitting. Any other bracha on a mitzvah, shekidushan mitzvah, has to be done standing. So until sidain is standing. Ashiyotzi could sit. On the kind of shomra, I believe you could also sit. And everything now. So until Stam is standing, technically you could sit if you want, but then you know when you have to stand up? When you say the brachas on the Torah, al divrei Seira. When it comes to al divrei Seira, there's 3 brachas for brichas Torah. It's a bracha on a mitzvah. It's a learning Torah. You're supposed to stand.
So they're supposed to shop at like you
don't actually have to stand.
Oh,
people generally stand. Listen, why? People just woke up. You just woke up, you're in bed all night, so it's no big deal to stand. So why have to sit down? So by default, people and also until Siddurim, you do have to stand, right? So stand, sit, musical chairs, So I'm saying it's just easier for a person who does not have any issues, they just stand. But if a person has an issue, you have to know, okay, here you could sit, here you have to stand.
The only one you need to do only
Till Sidayim, and then the Birchas HaTorah, starting from Al Divrei Seira, the Hadavnot, those are Birchas, it's a bracha on a mitzvah, so you have to say that standing. That's it. Everything else you can say.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah.
Earlier, we said during PD0 what you get interrupt for. What page? Can you show what page? Like Calvin Cottage is? For the exam into that.
No, that's a connection to the Kel Kaddish.
You can interrupt and say I'm waiting.
But after Kel Kaddish,
Yeah.
Kel Kaddish, you can answer in Birchas Kliyashma.
Oh yeah, there's not. I didn't my notes. Yeah.
Oh, where is the bracha Kel Kaddish?
Yeah.
It's right after Kedusha.
Oh.
When the Chazan finishes Kedusha, you're standing saying, holding the whole long Kedusha, Yimach Hashem Leilam, and right afterwards comes out to Kaddish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a moment that it cannot go out of the synagogue, not at the prayer.
At the moment, saying you're not allowed to leave the show?
Yes, indeed.
Not really, not for women. For men, there could be. There is like in the middle of the reading of the Torah, it says they're not supposed to leave. You're not allowed to leave. But for women, you're not in the actual show where they're reading the Torah, so for women, come and go as you please, no issue.
Aren't you supposed to fail that when the ark is open? Like,
Like Hebrew Seorim, their mission,
or like anytime, it's like it's like open a lot. Cause some shows, like in the winter upstairs, and there's like, you just have no idea when the ark opened.
okay, so what's the question?
So like, if we're supposed to say when the ark is open, and it's like a show where it's
The
hard.
question is, should you say the Hebrew Seorim when the ark is open?
No, I'm just saying, should we stand? Like,
Oh, do you have to stand?
yeah. I thought it
Oh,
was-
no,
I don't-
so actually, you're not obligated to stand when they open up the ark.
Okay,
The custom is you stand, I see what say, it's a proper thing to do,
okay.
but there's no actual obligation unless you see the Sefer Torah. Even if you see the Sefer Torah, it's also
Okay,
debatable,
okay, got it.
you know, but if you don't see many times the Shani and Kippur, the ark is open,
Yeah,
you say the Psukim, you don't have to stand. If you don't see the Sefer Torah, for sure you don't have to stand.
okay,
If you see the Sefer Torah, then, you know, it's a good thing to stand.
thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Thank you. Where was it? I'm just. No idea. You all have phones on some. Tuesday, number 2. Oh, this is the chair of the.